Hail Satan.
Hello, comrades. Happy Halloween. I don't know about you folks, but it is my favorite time of the year. Come on this way. I got a request from a YouTuber by the name of Radical Reviewer to do a video called Exposing the Satanic Web. And it was made in 1990 by a Christian coalition, and the thing is that makes it really interesting is that it tries to expose the really radically cryptic and extremely wicked aspects of Satanism. But the really weird thing is that I myself own the Satanic Bible. When I first read the Satanic Bible, I never tried to become a Satanist. I wanted to just read the Satanic Bible because I was curious about what Satanism was all about. And then, you know, when I finally read the Satanic Bible, you know, I finally decided, you know, it just wasn't for me. But, you know, according to this film, you know, it claims that if you even dive into Satanism, even for a second, you will start killing people, you will start killing babies, and you will start killing puppies and all that stuff. So come on into my lab. We dive into the unthinkable. Alright folks, let's do this. In the beginning, we're greeted with a sincere warning.
In my lifetime, I've known some war, and in my lifetime, I have seen some of the bizarre. I've known suffering, but I've never known of the bizarre. I've never known of suffering like you're going to hear about in this video. And I certainly promise you this, it is war. I also think you should know that we accept responsibility for saying up front that what you're going to see and hear is terrifying. I do not want to be responsible for allowing children in the room who are not prepared for this. Parents, please pay careful attention and do as I ask. Please don't allow children to watch this video alone. Today, we are compelled to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth? Yeah, we'll see about that.
I could stand two young kids just making a pact that would bring their lives to an end. You see, they got mixed up with the father of lies, and he took them way too far. And now they're giving their lives as a sacrifice. It's so broken and so marred.
In this Metroplex, it's my estimate that there's approximately 40,000 practicing Satanists in the Metroplex. That does not include pagan organizations, Druids, Wiccans, which are of the right-hand path of witchcraft, not the left-hand path. Dabbling in the occult and its various aspects in this Metroplex would have to be over 100,000 individuals. Now that's a conservative estimate.
Is Satanism really that mainstream? I mean, I get weird looks wearing my, like, choking victim t-shirt. I mean, is this not subtle enough?
Most teens involved in Satanism are dabblers. They wear the clothes, try a few rituals, and listen to
Wait, is that the Nazi punk's fuck off shirt? See, you're telling me that if I hate Nazis, I'm part of the occult? What kind of ass-pool is this?
The killer was dubbed the Night Stalker because he broke into his victims' homes and attacked them while they slept, shooting, stabbing, beating them to death. In some cases, wives were raped after their husbands had been murdered. Victims were robbed, survivors forced to swear to Satan, and sometimes pentagrams, symbols of devil worship, were left behind, scrawled on walls or bodies. Fear spread throughout Southern California as the death toll reached 13.
I'm very upset. It's frightening. I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Self-styled Satanists are volatile and frightening. But what of those who join organized cults and become what is called traditional Satanists? Teenagers recruited into these cults are told of the thrills and untapped power they can achieve through Satan, and they are promised drugs and sex.
All right, listen. Most Satanists that I know are Satanists for the sake of self-respect. Sure, there's an element of power in it, but they're not out hurting other people. I mean, they have rules against that unless people hurt them first. They especially have rules against hurting children. Satanists explicitly have a rule against hurting children, while Christians are out molesting children in the Catholic Church. What kind of fuckery is that?
It's an addiction. It's an addiction to evil. We all understand. Let's take it to the practical. For the public schools, teachers and counselors that are watching, they understand addiction. They understand how an addiction will move from marijuana to cocaine. In my own family, we watched an addiction in my second son move from marijuana into a $700 a day cocaine habit that nearly killed him. He was putting IV cocaine in his arm every 15 minutes during the day. And he didn't just start that way. And these people are into an addiction as well. They start by reading the Satanic Bible. They start by a little candle magic.
My bad. I'm just going to put these right here. I think they look nice over there.
There are no motion pictures that have come out that truly show what happens. They don't show the terror that is in the priest's eyes and in his mind. They don't show that same terror in the high priestess, nor in the participants. The power that is derived there. I met with a witch the other day, a high priest of the Wiccan craft, of the craft. And he found out who I had been. And he said, that's a problem I've got right now. He said, I don't have the power to go against people like who you were. He said, Lord, he said, you people could light bonfires and never walk up to it. And I said, that's right. And he said, you could kill me with a thought. And I said, no, with a word.
Is that right? I mean,
yeah. That's the power that someone who has mastered, who has become an adept in the craft. Now we're talking about a traditional Satanist, not a non-traditional idiot that is playing at this, but somebody that has made this their life's craft.
Did this guy make up that whole story?
Each sequence is drawn by a specific person, and I think the pictures illustrate the kinds of things we're talking about. The pictures are also drawn by the patient as they try to remember and try to recall what's happened. So drawing becomes a very important part of getting out and being able to firm up the puzzle that they're trying to put together. So they draw these pictures as a part of their recovery. As you can see here, there are certain steps that are followed. It's not a random kind of thing that they carry out on a whim. There's specific steps that they follow when preparing a small child to be initiated into the cult. They have to do this in this case because the child has been chosen. Oftentimes a baby is chosen for some reason to be the next leader of the clan. In this case, there was a boy who was chosen, and his mother, who herself was a child who was chosen when she was a baby, who is now grown up, now she's an adult, she has a son, she's preparing him. As you can see, the elements he's considered special, and it's the combination, the introduction of pleasure and pain. Here you can see that she is introducing pleasure at the same time. While she's doing that, she's putting things, objects, maybe a pencil, maybe a heated nail. Or
Okay, everyone. I got a special surprise for you. This is my my Bad Brains box right here, and we have quite a bit of a show and tell to do right here. So as you can see, I have a lot of different drawings from the past. When I was like in middle school, I had like all these different drawings. This is like, you know, I had like all these different drawings of like bands and artists, and like over here, this one has like Alice in Chains. I was a huge fan of Alice in Chains back in the day. This one has like the energy sign all over it. It looks really fucking trippy though. I did this one in middle school. I'm really proud of this one specifically. This one, I don't know what I was into, but like my name back in the day was Split Shanks. This one was pretty cool. And then I was also a fan of Pennywise, as you can see right here. That's what this symbol is right here. I was also part of a band called Fish, and then I was also part of another band called Six. This means fish, but it looks like it spells goatee. But yeah, I also burned a hole, which ended up being a face. Here's another one. I had like Dead Kennedys right there, Anarchy right there. There's just like the ska checkerboard. I drew like a cross right there. I don't know what I was doing there, but I thought that was really cool. There's like a pentagram right there. Here's like another one with like a pentagram right there. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, like, I don't know what I was doing. Here's like a little guy. I named him Party Buddy. He's like giving you the bird, you know. What I'm trying to say is that we all pretty much like did weird shit back in the day. And like, you know what? It's like, that's normal. That's normal. It's all a phase, guys. It's all a fucking phase. It fucking happens. We all do shit like this. This is normal, okay? It's chill. Calm down.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
The Halloween experts at Magic Manor have everything you'll need this year, including actual character masks from famous motion pictures. And they can show you the proper application of makeup to impress that special someone. Magic Manor's professional hand-painted custom masks start as low as $250. This Halloween, remember Magic Manor. Wigs, masks, makeup, costumes, shockingly authentic. Magic Manor, East Wind Mall.
Konami's Castlevania 4 for the Super NES finds the evil Count Dracula back to terrorize the Belmont family yet again. Armed with a whip, a quick mind, and even quicker reflexes, you must battle boss characters and evil enemies through a myriad of the most complex stages ever created. Select your stage and let the adventure begin. Enter Stage 1 and battle across a bridge, through a room and a stable. Beware of the Medusa heads, skeletons, and skeleton horses that are enough to rattle more than just your nerves. Proceed to Devil Forest and watch out for the wicked water reptiles, snakes, spiders, and man-eating plants that seem to be very hungry. In the underground cave, you'll do well to keep your eye on the rocks. And remember, things are slippery when they're wet. As if there isn't enough to look for, you need to grab as much money, food, magic potions, and power-ups as humanly possible. After you complete 10 of the toughest levels created for the Super NES, you'll find yourself in Dracula's tower. And if you can get past his gang, you will defeat the evil one himself. The intense action makes other adventures look like kid stuff. With Konami's Castlevania 4, you can count on spellbinding sales.
Now, I'ma go and do it like the white folk do. Get it from the dope man, I-O-U. Cartoon snow bunnies, Tiffany suit. Menage a trois, oh baby, that's cool.
Can you identify who it was that frightened you, ma'am?
I'll try.
This Halloween, terrifying creatures are on the loose at Taco Bell.
It's them!
Wanted Goosebumps at Taco Bell. Slappy's Candy Keeper, Cuddles the Horrible Hamster, Rappin' Mummy, and Skullmobile. Get them now. Goosebumps collectibles only at Taco Bell.
In August of 1986, we had a double murder in which 2 teenage Parkers were found shot quite a number of times in a rural parking lot of a development which was going up. At the time of that investigation, we became acquainted with a term called Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God! Do these police officers have nothing better to do than to waste our taxpayer dollars than to fuck around with Dungeons and Dragons again? Like, it's always Dungeons and Dragons. It's a slippery slope to Dungeons and Dragons. I do need to get around to playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'd like to play Dungeons and Dragons sometimes. I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons. Hit me up if you'd like to play Dungeons and Dragons with me sometime. I'd like to actually play Dungeons and Dragons with you guys sometime.
One young woman's body was found. What appeared to be a brutal rape case that culminated in the stabbing of the victim was left by law enforcement agencies that way with no further clues. However, upon her chest was Z-E-N across her chest in her own blood. It made no sense to them. It made no sense because they're not Satanist. That Z-E-N is the name of a demon, and his name is not Zen, by the way. It is Zadin. Zadin. And that demonic entity is who she was sacrificed to, and had they known that, it would have led them in the direction of searching for a Satanist.
Okay, either you're making this shit up again, or you were involved in the murder, because that makes no sense at all.
The most frightening fact of all is that Satanists today have encroached into every level of society, a dangerous and unseen force.
Lawyers, politicians, police officers, and this shit's very shocking at how many police officers, how many officials are actually practicing Satanist. And this is one of the other problems that we have in dealing with the crimes, is the crimes themselves are snuffed out. They're hushed up. Or if a crime is known to be in progress, it's very difficult to get anybody to respond to it because of things that are blocked within the judicial system.
Okay, this is the biggest load of bullshit so far. I have a much easier time believing that white supremacist groups have infiltrated law enforcement than Satanist groups. Jesus Christ.
These people are in every strata of society. We're talking doctors, we're talking lawyers, we're talking a lot of Christian ministers.
Christian ministers are Satanists now. You heard it here, folks.
We've had notes written about Satan on walls in schools. You know, that my God's better than your God and all this. We had one note, you're welcome to a bloodbath ritual. Be there at 11:54 for the gatekeeper of hell to appear. Bring your set clothes or black sheets.
That looks like a metal show, not a satanic ritual.
In the beginning, Satanists will entice a recruit with these 3 promises: power, drugs, and sex.
That's made up.
Most teenagers recruited into Satanism are boys, drawn by the violent images and rituals and by the fear they can cause in others. Yet without heavy involvement in drugs, most of these recruits would not be able to go on.
Most of the time, like I said, there's drugs involved. Just because you're taking drugs does not necessarily mean you're into Satanism. But 9 times out of 10, Satanists are into drugs.
You know what these people do? They look at counterculture like video games and music and metal shows and black t-shirts, and they try to make sense of it all, and they, without doing any research, and then they try to, sort it all together, and then they try to, make, a foundational book or a film or a documentary, and then they try to act like they're the authority of all knowledge, and, it gets really it's really fucking annoying. They don't know anything about the counterculture. They don't know anything about the lifestyle. If they were the time travel today, and if they were to look at vaporwave, for example, the vaporwave counterculture, could they make sense of that? Of course not, because vaporwave is so fucking advanced and so fucking different than, the counterculture of the 1980s and 1990s, then that it would make no sense to them today. They would say, oh, these fucking people are going online and they're fucking downloading, drinks, and they're fucking getting vaporwaved into the cybernet and stuff, and it would make no sense to them.
I think music has always been a powerful media all the way through. I mean, music was important to you and me, and it's important to the teenagers today. And we're not anti-heavy metal, but we're anti the heavy metal message that is causing death and destruction. And the symbols that they're using are so blatantly occultic that it's very difficult for us to overlook that kind of thing. For instance, if we take the album cover from Slayer's album, Rain and Blood.
Dude. Rain and Blood is such a fundamental metal album that if you're against that album, you're anti-metal. There's no way around it.
It depicts a message to young people that maybe consciously they don't receive, but subconsciously they're receiving this message. On the front of this album cover, Satan is depicted as a goat, which is very familiar to the Satanists. They know that would be the goat would represent Satan, and he is seated on a wooden throne, and the wooden throne is being supported by 2 people. Now, in the hand of this goat is a decapitated head, and of course we're finding decapitated bodies all over America, and that is a common way for a Satanist ritual to occur, is to do the decapitation. And so he's holding this decapitated head, which emphasizes the bloodletting ritual and the murder. And then the throne is lifted up and being carried on the shoulders of 2 men. The man in the foreground is wearing a mitred hat, which we know to be the hat of a pope. And so that man represents organized religion or the church. Behind him is another man who is carrying the throne of Satan.
Jesus Christ. She fucking studied this cover, dude. She is Slayer's biggest fan.
We went into a very small store, David. This was, maybe as big as we're sitting here. This was a small set. We found 119 videos on the occult in one small store. And we have a video in America that is on our shelves that has been banned in 46 countries. And it was so popular, it has Faces of Death, Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in that video, it shows everything that is gruesome, grotesque, everything that you would never want to see or hope your child would never see in the way of death scenes, including some decapitation occult ritual.
Listen, dude, if you don't want your child to see something, be a good parent and don't let your child see it. That's your job, not the government's job.
Parents should be alert to the warning signs that show their kids are involved in the cults. Besides the music, there are the clothing, jewelry, and symbols used. There is the classic pentagram, worn inverted by the Satanist, the broken cross or peace sign, the inverted cross, the horned hand sign, the goat's head, the 666 sign, and many others.
Oh, man, really? The anarchy sign is the same as the SS? Are you fucking kidding me? Someone who wants the government to fuck off is not the same as someone who wants to kill black people. I'm just letting you know right now. Just for anyone who doesn't get the distinction.
This is not a phase. Know what your young people are doing. Talk to your young people. Communicate. Don't fluff it off. Check everything. There's nothing wrong with asking them where they're going, what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with checking out their music and books they're reading.
Not a phase, huh? Well, for me, it totally was a phase. I'm no longer a metalhead or a punk or a Satanist for that matter. I never sacrificed or abused animals or killed anyone. I never dreamed of doing that. And, you know, stuff like that, it's just not my thing. Anyway, hope you all have a happy Halloween, and I hope you all remember to stay safe, and remember to light cops on fire, and to light pumpkins on fire, and smash pumpkins. I meant to just and also throw pumpkins at cops and do stuff like that, because that's good, and yeah. Take care, folks.
The sacrifice is over.